In this video, I'm going to cover nesting in Ibex. Nesting can be found on the edit ribbon on the right side here. When I activate it, I get my nesting parameters. We have two types of nesters in Ibex, the shape nester and the block nester. The shape nester is going to be true shape nesting, where the outline of the part you're trying to nest is taken into account and nested close to other parts. Whereas block nesting is optimized for rectangular parts. For most people, you're going to use shape nester most of the time, but if you're creating cabinets or something that's primarily composed of rectangular pieces, the block nester might be the one for you. So I can start off by selecting my parts, and immediately I'm going to get the parts outlined in blue to indicate that they've been selected, and then an overlay indicating the quantity of those parts that will be nested. I can then adjust some of the nest parameters up here, like gap. This is the gap between the parts as they're nested, and the margin. The margin is the gap between the parts and the edge of the sheet. So then here is where I can adjust the quantity. If I increase the quantity, you'll notice that because all of these are selected, the quantity on all the parts increases and similarly decreases. I can also adjust the step angle here. The step angle is the angle in degrees between each position you want to try nesting in. So in this case, I have 90 degrees, which means each part will be tried in 4 positions when nesting. And if I drop that down, I can select 360, and that means no rotation, essentially. It wants to be nested in the orientation it's currently in, or I can scroll all the way down to 5 degrees, which gives me very fine nesting control. The trade-off is it's going to take longer to complete that nest as all of those positions are tried. Right now, I'll leave it at 90. For the priority, this is the order in which the parts are nested. Largest is the default. This attempts to nest the largest parts in my selection first. Smallest is the reverse of that, where the smallest parts will be nested all the way up to the largest. Random takes a random order and nest parts in that order. And then alternate will do it sequentially, where if this is part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they'll be nested in that order and then loop through until the quantity of parts is met. I have my placement magnets that allow me to specify which corner I want to nest into. Most commonly, that'll be lower left. And some other options here that I'll get to in just a second. So with the shape nesting, I have a preview option that allows me to adjust parameters and see how the nest will react before applying those and creating the contours in the workspace. So with that selected, I now get an orange preview of what the nest will look like with these parameters. So if I go back here and adjust the step angle and change it from 90 to 45 degrees, now when I click Show Preview, I get a slightly different, more compact nest because primarily you can see that the Ibex heads were rotated and fit together better in between the other letters. I can also change the order here. Let's do alternate and update the preview here. Now you can see it just jumbles things around a little bit more. Let's go back to largest. And I have some other options here that are pretty common. Multi-sheet, this will put parts on multiple sheets if it can't all fit on one. Use holes, where parts will be nested into the holes of other parts if they exist. Nest report, if I want to create a report that I can review after the nest. Nest originals will nest these original parts instead of creating copies. And then I have my cutoff options. These are going to be important for material handling. So I have 2 options for handling the unnested material. Live edge cutoff, what that's going to do is it's going to create a contour right up against these parts, and that can be toolpathed so that you can save the maximum amount of material. Alternatively, I have the straight line cutoff option. This is if I don't really care about maximizing every last square inch of this material, and what would be more useful is to have a rectangular piece of material to use for my next job. I can turn on straight line cutoff and I get a new set of parameters. What this allows me to do is define the cutoff threshold. This is a percentage of the original material size. So what this is saying is that if the remaining material is at least 15% of the original, that's valuable enough that I want to keep it. If it's less than 15%, I don't want to have to keep track of that chunk of material. Let's not create a cutoff. And then I have the option to do a vertical or a horizontal cutoff. And this will depend based on where I'm nesting into. So in this case, I'm nesting against the left side of the material. Let's stick with a vertical cutoff. Click Apply. That nest that I previewed is finalized on the material, and here's my straight edge cutoff. This can be toolpathed with an open contour offset, and this will allow me to make a nice clean cut down the edge of my material. And now I have a nice rectangular chunk of material that I can use for my next job. That's a quick introduction to nesting in Ibex.